continue to get set up here actually. Wait, you're signed in. Great. Okay. Um,
Yep.
cool. Let me just very quickly find a problem, which may or may not be a good problem.
Okay.
Okay, this problem should work. And then you're already in, I see. Great. Wait, is Python your language? Python was you, right? Okay.
Yes.
Okay,
Yes.
great. Okay. I mean, in that case, anything else I should know before you start? I mean, you've been here before, so
Uh,
shouldn't be any surprises.
yeah, no, not really.
Okay, let's get to it. Well, I mean, yeah, as per usual, 1 hour session. Starting on time today, which is actually pretty nice. We'll probably go through 1 to 2 questions, depending on how quickly you get to the first one, and we'll leave 5-10 minutes at the end for feedback questions.
Okay, sounds good.
Okay, let's get right into it. So, this problem is called construct the largest number. Okay, so the input to this problem is going to be a list of integers. Okay, and the output is going to be a string. And your goal is basically to arrange the numbers in the list such that it is the largest integer possible.
Okay.
And we're returning a string because, obviously we could have a very, very large integer. In Python, this doesn't matter, but in other languages it does. So we're just sticking to the convention of a string for this problem.
Okay. Is that it?
Yep, that's the entire problem.
Okay. Maybe I'll come up with some examples first. So, say we're given like 1, 2, 3. Then we want to output 321. Are there any like constraints on how big these numbers can be? And also like, can there be duplicate numbers?
There's no constraints on that, and yes, there can be duplicates.
Okay. Um, so we're given like, so I think we would just want to sort these numbers in descending order and then output the string version of the numbers concatenated to each other. So like in this
Okay.
case, if we sort the array, then these numbers will be swapped with each other, and then uh, concatenating them together will give us the largest output. Um, Trying to think if there's any edge cases where this wouldn't work.
What if you mix and match numbers of different sizes?
Oh, that's true. Like, what if I had this and then, oh, then we want it to be like that. Okay, that is true.
Mm-hmm.
Um, if I were to turn these numbers into strings and then like sort the array, then would the output be uh like this?
You, I mean, you tell me. What do you think?
Uh, I'm not sure. Maybe. Uh, 'Cause I know like, wait, is that how it works? Uh, um, because I think if there was a way to sort the numbers,
Mm-hmm.
um, like this, then like if we could somehow get the array to look like this,
Hmm.
then at the end we could just concatenate the strings together, but not sure exactly how we would accomplish this sorted order.
You can write a manual algorithm for that kind of comparison then, right? So maybe you could go that route if you're not sure about
Hmm.
how the default sort works.
Yeah. Okay. So let me think. Um, so I want to sort the input list. Um, I think the term is like lexicographically, so like in this order, and then once list is sorted, concatenate all strings to form output. Um,
Hmm.
yeah, I think like doing this is probably the hard part of
Okay.
this question. Like,
Yeah.
don't really know how to um, get that output.
Okay. I mean, you did propose an algorithm, like so. You want to sort the numbers in the array lexicographically.
Yep.
Okay. Are you aware of how to write your own comparison function?
Mm, not sure. But like, if I call dot sort, will this just happen automatically or no?
I mean, if you don't know, what should I say? If because your entire problem depends on it working, and you can't tell me if it works or not, then what can I say, right?
Yeah, I don't know. I feel like it should work, but like
Okay.
also I don't know.
Okay. Can you provide a compelling reason for why it should work?
Actually, maybe it doesn't work because I think dot sort only works on integer values, but I'm trying to sort it by string lexicographically, so I don't know if that does the same thing.
Okay. Let's write our own comparison function, and we'll do it the manual way.
Hmm, okay. I don't really know if I know how to do that, but
Oh, okay. All right. I mean, why don't you just get started with the pseudocode, and then I'll help you with that part if you need.
okay, so we are constructing large numbers. So I think it makes sense for our comparator function to take in a list of strings. So I guess the first thing I need to do is convert uh, int list into string list. So I think I can just do uh, um, I think this will convert all of these numbers into their stringified forms, and
Okay.
then we can call the comparator function on string nums. So once
Okay.
we do that, then we will have a array or like a list of strings in the sorted order that we want, and then um, we can build our output, which will just be a list, which will just be empty string first, and then we can just do um, or string in. So
Hmm.
so we will have our output list in this variable, and then I'll just append each string to the output and then
Okay.
return the output at the end.
Okay. Okay. Um, I think this is a reasonable solution. Let's talk about the sorting then. I'm happy with the structure otherwise. So a
Okay.
comparator, in sorting theory at least, is a function which takes two inputs, which consist of inputs in the list you're trying to sort, and it returns the relative order of the elements. Okay, so let's
Okay.
define a function here. Okay, and you are, for example, let's say for the sake of argument that a is equal to, let's just use your thing there. So let's say a is the first element and b is the second element. Okay, and so you are to return -1. So return if a should go before b. Before b, I can't type without auto completing. Return 1 if b should go before a, and return 0 if it doesn't matter. Okay,
Oh,
and then the way
okay.
you actually use this comparator in Python is use the well, you actually do use the built-in sort, and the way you do it is
So dot sort. Oh,
use use so dot sort. I'm not sure dot sort works. I know that sort of works because it takes the comparator. So you would do compare to key. Does that
okay.
have import? No, it doesn't. Okay, well, whatever. And then you would pass in your function. What's the import again? I think it's from functools. There it is. Yeah, so this is how you would actually do. So this is how you would sort in Python using a custom comparator, and now it's up to you to implement the comparator.
Oh, okay. Wait. So then, can I just
Yeah,
use string nums in here?
yeah, it sorts it in place. Yeah, that's
Oh,
fine.
okay. Oh, okay. So the comparator function only takes in two strings to compare each time, right?
Yeah, it takes in two elements. So in this case, they are strings. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Um, so how do I determine this? Um, so I think we can just um compare, like we can just use like two pointers for like one pointer for each string, and then we would compare the individual digits. So I think like if we see that the first digit of A is greater than the first digit of B, then we should always return A as the larger string. Um,
Mm-hmm.
right. And then if if they were the same digit to begin with, then we would iterate until we see a different digit. And then in this case, 7 is greater than 2, so then we would still return A. So I think the only case where it doesn't matter would be if these two strings are the same, uh, like equal to each other. Does
Okay.
that
Yep.
make sense?
Yep. That makes sense.
Okay, so I think we can just use two pointers. So I'll do one, two, and then I'll initialize them to 0. And then I want to iterate as long as both of these pointers are still in bounds. So, and then I want to check the numbers at the pointers positions. So, um, if so if A is greater than B, then we're returning -1, and then if A is smaller than B, then return 1, then else um, else we will just increment the pointers, I think. And then I think if we finish iterating through all of the digits and we don't return explicitly here, then that means that we've been given the same number, so we can return 0. But when I'm comparing these, they are still strings, so I think I have to convert it to integer to actually compare the integer value. Let me see if this works for all edge cases. So if
Okay.
I'm comparing these two numbers, then I'm starting at the 6, and then I'm seeing they're the same number, so I'm incrementing both pointers, and then I'm comparing the 7 and the 2, and the 7 is greater, so I'm returning -1, which makes sense. What if this is like that? Then I'm comparing the 7 to the 7, and they both are equal, so we increment the pointers, and then this is now out of bounds, but there's still another digit here. So I guess we would want to return b because this number is greater. So could say if one. So if there's still more digits available in a string, then we could return -1 for A, and then else if there's still more digits in B, then we can return 1, I think. So then this would handle this case because the A pointer has gone out of bounds, but we still have one more digit in B. So then we would return B. Um, yeah.
Is that always the case? Like, for example, do we? So you're saying that so in this case, you say that you want, so you would return 1, right?
hmm
So you're saying that you always want 673 to appear before 67 in the final result.
Yeah, I was also thinking about that. Like,
Is that true?
does the bigger number mean that we want it to appear first? Okay, like what if these were the two strings? Then the largest number would be, wait, the largest number would be this as opposed to this. Oh, so then we would want to return A first.
Mm-hmm.
But is that always the case? What if what if this was like a 9?
Okay.
Wait, what if, uh, then we would either have this, then we would want to return this number. Oh, yeah. How do I determine that? What if the number was like a 7? Then we would want to return this number. What if this was a 6? Okay, I don't know if this is correct, but
Okay.
like maybe maybe we'd want to return the larger number only if the last digit is greater than the first digit, but I
The
don't know if
last.
that's always the case.
Wait, sorry, can you say that again?
Like, So if the last digit of B is 6,
Okay.
and then these are the two possible strings that we can output,
Wait, are they? 667. Yes, they're sorry. Yeah, okay. Yeah, go ahead.
then we would want to return this string
Yeah.
because this number is bigger. But if this was a 7, then this number would be. Wait, are they the same now?
Wait,
Oh,
yeah, I think you did this wrong. I think there should be the 7, no?
oh, yes. Getting confused.
Yeah, that's right.
Okay. Okay, then we want to return this string because this number is bigger.
Yes.
So, like the 7 is greater than the first number, 6.
Okay, okay, hold on here. You're very close to a revelation. Um,
Okay.
and I had to point this out. The first thing to point out, and I'm sorry I have to do this to you right now, but like these two pointers are the same value. But anyways, um,
Oh,
why are we using pointers in the first place? And I'm saying that because like the comparison you're doing right here, like you right now you're only considering comparing them if they're equal up to the smaller number, right? Like that's what you're doing with this basically, right?
wait, wait, wait. I just had a realization. Like, I feel like I could just try concatenating these two numbers in like these two ways, and then I didn't need to use pointers. Like, I could have just created the two different numbers and then compared the actual numbers.
Yes.
Okay, let me delete this. So, um, this first option is if we concatenate A and B, and then this second option is B and A. So, we can just determine if the number created from A and B is greater, then we should return -1 because A should go before B. And then
Yep.
otherwise, if the number created with B and then A is greater, then we should return 1. And then if they create the same number, then we could just return 0.
Yep.
Okay, so I will say, uh, what do I call this? So, okay, does that make sense?
Yep.
Okay.
Okay. Okay. So do you want to run through the rest of the algorithm? Just to wrap it up?
Yeah, sure. So, um, I guess I guess I can use this example.
Okay.
So I'm converting it into a list of strings. So I guess that's what my array will look like. And
Mm-hmm.
then I'm comparing the two numbers. So in this case, A will be 67 and B will be 123.
Mm-hmm.
And then A first, then B will become this. And then this will be the other option. And then I'm checking if temp 1 is greater than temp 2, which it is. So then we return -1. So like
Mm-hmm.
this comparator function will just return the it will return the same list but just in sorted order, right?
Yeah, so sorted will return. the list in sorted order, and the comparison
Right.
function is just used to tell the sorted method how to relatively order any two items. So in this case, in your case, it's
Okay.
returning -1 because it's saying that the first item should come before the second, and because there are only two items in your sample list, then it'll just be the same. It'll be the same order that it comes out. Yeah.
Okay, yeah. So then the comparator function will return this, and then I am iterating through each element in the array, and then I'm appending it to the output. So
Mm-hmm.
yeah, then my output will just be
Cool.
okay.
All right. Yeah, I'm happy with that. Let's do a time and space, please.
Okay. So the time complexity of this, let me think. I mean, like, I know that using sorted regularly is n log n, so I'm assuming that will still be the case when we're creating the custom comparators. So, and then the rest of the operations, like converting the list into um, a list of strings, will be O of n because we have to perform this for each element. So I think the sorted part um, is what makes the algorithm n log n. So, okay, I'll write it down.
Okay.
Time n log n.
Mm-hmm.
And then base complexity will be, so like this is O of n because we're creating the array of n size. And then in here, we're just using a constant number of variables. Um, and then, yeah, here the array is like O of n size, and then the output will contain all of the numbers in our input. So I think like overall the space complexity would be O of n.
Okay. Yep. That's cool with me. We have a
Okay.
bit of time to go to a second problem, so let's just go there and see how far we can on that one. How's that sound?
Okay, cool.
Okay, so let's just leave this right here, and let's just go down a bit on the page. I think this problem is appropriate, so let's try this one out. So this problem is called decode nested string, and so the input is a string. It's an encoded string, and I'll tell you about the encoding in a second. And the output will be the decoding string. It will be the string that is decoded. Okay, so let me give you an example here.
Okay.
So here's an example. This is an example input string, and it's encoded in the following manner. So there are tokens between square brackets. So in this case, there are two tokens. There's a first token A and the second token BC. Okay,
Okay.
and
Okay.
before each token will be an integer. So in this case, integer is 3 for token A and 2 for the token BC. And a way to decode a string is to duplicate each token in place by the integer times. So in this case, there will be 3 A's and there will be 2 BC's, like so.
Okay. I see. Okay. That makes sense. So we're basically given an input string in this format, and then we
Mm-hmm.
want to return the string decoded.
Yep.
So I guess I have like a couple of questions. So you said like this string is nested. So does
Mm-hmm.
that mean we could have like another layer like that, like this whole thing is in brackets and then like a number on the outside?
Yep. That's
So
possible.
then okay. So then in that case we would want our output to look like this, right?
Yep. Exactly.
Okay. So mm, so I think we'd want to do some sort of depth first search, depth first traversal type of thing because we
Mm-hmm.
want to decode the most nested portions of the string first. And then once we've decoded like this part
Mm-hmm.
inside, then we can like pop back outwards and decode the rest of the string because nested inside. Um,
Yeah, that's a good high level approach. Yeah.
So, um, I think like we'd want to iterate through each element of the input string, and then once we detect a nested token, then we'd want to decode that portion, but we need to somehow save the outer portion so that we can come back to it once we've decoded the inner portion. So
Mm-hmm.
I I think it makes sense to use a stack structure to keep track of the characters that we're seeing, and then once we decode like inner portions, we can access the letters behind it and decode the parent element, if that makes sense.
I think I get what you're going for. Yeah, we can start with that approach. Yeah.
Okay, so if I have like a stack to maintain the letters I'm or the characters that I'm traversing
Mm-hmm.
through, um, so I can start like appending individual characters to my stack. Um, so I think like once we encounter a closing bracket, that will indicate that we can like decode that portion because we've visited like the entire like an entire nested portion that can be decoded. Like this is like the lowest level that
Yeah.
we can visit. So like as we're adding stuff to our stack, once we encounter the closing bracket, then I think we can begin um, removing from our stack and decoding. So like as we're iterating through, like we get to three and then oh, we have like an opening bracket. We get to the opening bracket and then the A, and then we see the closing bracket. So that means um, we can decode that portion. So we can pop from the stack and then so we can pop from the stack until we see the opening bracket. And then because once we see the opening bracket, that will indicate that um, we've popped all the letters in that nested portion. So then we can pop the opening bracket from the stack, and then we see the number. But the number could be like more than one digit. So we want to pop until we see another opening bracket, I think, which will indicate that we've gotten all the numbers. And then once
Okay.
we have the number, we can convert it into integer and then multiply the string by the number to get the decoded portion of that. And then once we pop from the stack, so we've popped that part, so we've like decoded the 3A portion. And then so we're like here in our outer iteration, and then we still have to add these remaining parts to our stack. So, and then we see the closing bracket, so then that will indicate that we can start popping from the stack. So once we pop these two letters, that's like our string, that's like our token that we want to append this many times. So we can pop the opening bracket and then the two, and then that indicates that we want to append the token two times.
Mm-hmm.
So then um, this is what we have so far. I think we need to put these back in our stack because once we reach this outer level, we need to like we need this back in our stack so that we know to append these parts 2 times.
Okay.
So now the stack looks like this, and then we are at the last closing bracket. So then we can pop from our stack, and then so then we'll essentially get this, which is the output we want, I think.
Yep. Sounds good.
Okay, let me write out some pseudocode. So we want an outer for loop to iterate through string. And then we want to of maintain a stack of characters as we iterate through input. So we want to push characters onto stack as long as they are not the closing bracket. And then once we encounter the closing bracket, then we want to pop from stack, or pop all the letters. Oh yeah, one thing I should have asked is, are we only going to get these types of characters, like, or are we going to get like, could we get like other stuff like periods or slashes or other types of inputs?
They're all just lowercase alphabet characters.
Okay, so then once we encounter the closing bracket, then we can pop all the letters from the stack until we reach the opening bracket. So that will give us the token portion, like the string portion that we want to append. And then we need to get pop from stack to get number, and then um, generate decoded string from token and number. And then we want to push back onto stack. So essentially, we want to iterate through all of the letters in the input string and maintain a stack of characters as we're iterating through the input. And then we want to keep adding to the stack until we reach a closing bracket, because the closing bracket will indicate that we've reached like the lowest level, like the lowest nested level of a decoded string. And then we can pop all the letters from the stack and then get the number and then generate the decoded string and put it back onto the stack. And then once we've finished iterating through all of the elements in the stack, then we will have, then we can join all of these. We can like, wait, what was I going to say? We can just return the output joined.
Okay. Yeah, that sounds good to me.
I think that makes sense. So, okay. Decode nested string. And then we're going to take in a input string. And then I'm going to have a stack. And then I want to iterate through all of the letters. So for character in string. And then okay, so I need to check if the character is not the closing bracket, then I want to push it onto the stack. If it is a closing bracket, then we need to perform this operation where we generate the decoded portion. So I think I need to do a while loop because I need to pop all of the letters from the stack. So I'll say while stack, while the top of the stack is a letter. Okay, how do I do that? Um, can I use like a built-in function to check if a character is a letter?
Yeah, sure.
Okay. Um, I don't know exactly what it's called, but it might be like is alpha or something.
Mm-hmm.
Can I assume that that works?
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay. So while the top of the stack is a letter, then I want to pop from the stack. So um, I'm gonna call this portion token, and then I want to append it to the token. Um, wait, let me think about this, because like I'm popping from the stack, but it'll be backwards because it's like I'm popping from the top of the stack each time, so I need to uh I think this is what I want to do. Because I want to add the popped character to the end of the token string each time. And then, okay, so then this will get all the letters, and then I will have an opening bracket. So I think I want to pop one more time. And then I need to get the number. So I'm going to do while stack, oops, is numeric. Then I'm going to pop. So this will be a string. And okay. And then I'm going to convert this into an integer. And then I'm going to generate the decoded string and then push it back onto the stack. So I think I can just do this. So I'm basically multiplying this letter or this token this many times. And then, okay, I'll call this decoded string. And then I'm going to push this decoded string back onto the stack. Okay. I think that's it. And then, so at the end, like this will be in my stack. So I think like I could just return the stack. Wait, let me think about this. So if I'm given like this input, then at the end my stack will look like this, right? Yeah.
When do you ever pop
So
the opening bracket?
I popped the opening bracket here.
Okay. Okay, that's fine.
Yeah. So, okay, my stack can be composed of multiple strings. So I need to join all of the strings together, and then I think that will be the correct output.
Mm-hmm.
So I can use this join function. Um, I think this works. Uh,
Do you want to double check the logic over
yeah,
here?
yeah. So, I guess like if we run through this example, oops. So I'm adding the 3 and then the opening bracket and then the A, and then I get to the closing bracket, so then my token will look like this. And then I'm checking while the top of the stack is a letter, I'm popping it. Oh, maybe this isn't that good of an example. Like, what if this was like um, A? So I'm popping, so I'm adding this to the end. Wait, sorry. So I'm adding the N, and then I'm doing N, M. Oh, wait, that might not be correct. Oh, wait, I think it's supposed to be reversed then, because I want the string to be like that.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Yeah, I think it's supposed to be reversed.
Okay,
Okay, so yeah.
that's fine. We don't have to go to logic. We don't have time for that. Time and space, please.
Okay. So the time complexity of this would be O of n because I'm iterating through the string once and then visiting each letter once. And then space complexity would also be O of n because um, in the worst case, we could be storing all of the letters into the stack. So the stack could be of size n at most.
Okay. And well, obviously you're saying time is on. So are you saying that all the intermediate operations are constant time?
Yes. Yes.
Okay. Um.
Wait, actually, let me think. So strings are not mutable, which means when I'm like when I'm doing like these operations, I'm like creating a new copy of token, for example,
Mm-hmm.
right? So
Yes.
that um oh, that could be sus. Maybe like n squared?
Is
Wait,
that a, is
actually,
that
I'm not
is that a
sure.
question?
It's definitely more than O of n
Okay.
because I'm creating like a new copy of the string every time I modify it.
Yep.
So it's not O of n actually. Sorry.
Okay. So what is it?
Like, I don't know. Like,
Okay.
um,
What about this case? We'll just have A, B, C, and we'll just all the way to like Z. Right. So you have 26 characters.
so I have 26 characters, so then at most I could be doing this 26 times.
Okay. Well, let's not
So
call
I
it
guess,
26. I just meant like if you
oh,
had K characters here. Okay, we can see this as K characters. How about that? Or in this case, this is just N, right? Like this is there's N characters here. The size of the orchestra,
oh,
right?
oh.
Guess there's N characters here.
Yeah.
Then what?
So there's n characters. Then I would be doing this n times.
Mm-hmm.
So I guess n squared. Because because I need to iterate through each character in the string, and then for each character, I will be performing this operation
Mm-hmm.
n times at most. So
Mm-hmm.
n squared.
Okay. Do you have any ideas to improve that?
Um, I guess like instead of making this a string, I could use a array because
How so?
arrays are like I could do like a list of characters, and then it wouldn't cost O of n to add to a list of characters. And then at the end, I could just convert that list of characters into a string.
Okay. Okay. Sounds good. Let's call it here. Let's go through
Okay.
some questions and feedback.
Okay.
All right.
Sounds good.
Which of the two? Okay, I mean, usually I start these by asking you like, which of the two did you feel like you did better on? Which areas do you think you could have improved on?
Mm, I think the second question was better.
Yeah.
Um, Probably because I did not know how to do a custom comparator function for the first question.
Mm-hmm.
Um, yeah, I think like the second question, I was able to dry run through examples, and then that made it easier to code the solution.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I mean that makes sense. But what do you think could have, like, of all the things in question one, let's say, like aside from the comparator, do you like how did you feel like it went? Because like I mean, like it could always be the case that you don't know the custom comparator, but you should know the other things. So, do you feel like it was a case that the other things didn't, like the other things were pretty easy, right? Everything else you came up with pretty quickly, right?
Yeah.
Um,
Uh, I think it was kind of weird how I didn't know what to do inside here at first. Like,
okay,
I don't really know why I was doing the two-pointer thing. I think it
okay,
just like made sense in my head,
okay,
but I didn't realize that I could have just like generated the two possible numbers and then compared them.
yeah,
That just didn't come to me at first.
okay. I can, I mean, like that. That's one of those things where I would, I'm looking for you to figure that out, and then when it's obvious you're not figuring that out, then I would have to step in because that is basically the entire problem. Okay, let's just quickly talk about this, about the first problem, and then we'll move on to the second one. Um, yeah, so I mean, yeah, this entire problem is a sorting problem, as you have identified. And just to be clear, Python sort would have worked directly with the list of strings.
Oh, really?
Yes, but the way you said it would have
Okay.
worked actually would not have worked because Python sorts in increasing order, and so you would have to reverse it, which it did not say. So it would still be incorrect the way you said
Oh,
it. But it would have
oh,
worked. You just would have needed to reverse it. But anyways, that doesn't matter because you couldn't convince the interviewer that you knew. So you would have to implement it. And in general, this is a good pattern to know. And by the way, this you can use either the sorted or you could use dot sort, which sorts it in place. It's the same difference. It doesn't really matter. But the key thing to understand here is that there is this custom comparator, right? And in this case, the custom comparator wasn't actually needed, but you can imagine how this might be needed for some more advanced problems. And so this is something that you should learn and get under your belt. I don't know if you've taken like any theory courses about sorting, but this is one of the like the fundamental theories of sorting, which is that if you could determine the absolute ordering or relative ordering between any two items, then you can sort a list in log in time guaranteed. So this is where that kind of theory comes to play, which is where you need to define the correct comparison function. Now, one thing
okay.
that is correct, so this is one of those things that is correct, but I couldn't tell if you knew at the time, and that is because, like, if we had like a third element, let's just call it, I don't know, let's call it four, doesn't matter. Um, I didn't quiz you on this case because I think we spent enough time on it. But know that if an interviewer really wanted to grill you on this one, they would ask you, like they would try to test you on how well you understand what this comparison actually doing, right? Because what it's actually doing is you're comparing um, this and then any arbitrary numbers in between, right? Uh, versus this. This is what it's actually comparing, right? And so you need to be able to convince people that yes, no matter what numbers you put in between here, as long as those numbers are sorted, because your invariant is that all the other numbers are sorted. If your invariant holds, then this number will always be greater than this number, right?
Okay.
And so like that piece of induction was actually missing from your explanation, but I mean at that point I didn't really care. But just want to let you know that like your explanation was not complete for this function.
Okay.
Otherwise, nothing to really say about that one. Anything you want to talk about question one before we move on?
Uh, no, not really. So like the most optimized time complexity would be n log n because of the sorting, right?
Yeah, you would have to arbitrarily sort the numbers. Yeah.
Okay,
Um,
cool.
and technically speaking, it's also better if you could um, put in a variable for the size of the numbers, which you didn't do. Whereas your in is just a length of nums, but you didn't say anything about the size of the numbers inside of the num array. So ideally, you would
Oh,
actually be using
okay.
two variables for this for the time complexity here. But that's a small detail. Most people probably wouldn't care about it, but that does matter, especially in Python
Okay.
when the integers are not bounded in size.
Okay. Makes sense.
Okay. Uh, Second problem.
Yes.
So this one you had a so this one was quite I think this was quite well done overall. Um, Immediate intuition for using a stack. So that was good. So the first thing people are looking for basically is okay, are you proposing a stack or a recursive solution? Either one would work, but you have to get onto that page before you can even begin the problem. And so that was very quick. That was good. And in general, these sort of problems where you're basically looking for so you're traversing something. In this case, it's a string. You're looking for a special signal, in this case a closing bracket, before you start doing some processing, right? So this sort of pattern is very common in what we call monotonic stack questions. This is a question where you build a stack up until something happens, you process something, and you continue building it up. And if your algorithm is correct, then it's guaranteed that the final result will be the correct answer. So in this case, that would be your final stack which you join together, right? So I think overall this approach is well done. This was quite well led in terms of just doing stuff yourself. Again, these are one of those things like the is alpha is numeric. That's what you just got to know in Python. In this case, you're actually correct about it, so that's good.
Okay, okay.
Um,
Nice.
but if you're using them, you should have more confidence in general. Uh,
Yeah, I feel like sometimes I say things and it sounds like I'm asking a question which would indicate a lack of confidence. So I need to work on that.
yeah, especially if you are confident, then you should just say it. Um, I mean, if you're
Yeah.
not confident, then you try not to be wrong. But yeah, but it's fine to like say, oh, I think there's a is alpha function. Can we assume it exists? Blah blah blah. Usually it's fine. Because this problem isn't really testing regex skills. That kind of thing doesn't really matter. But um, okay, so that's fine. The implementation was okay, but again, the time complexity we kind of got in that one at the end wasn't quite right. And you did kind of okay. Well, before we get there, so you stopped yourself from implementing the token plus equals stack.pop probably, right? And then you just implemented the exact same thing in the longer form. So that's probably one of those cases where you had the right idea to be careful about what's going on, but you didn't. But you didn't actually do anything with that caution, right? So this is one of those things where
Right.
like it's good to just if you have the time, good to run through an example so you can convince yourself it's correct. But also you can just write when you write this, you can just say, hold on, let me just try an example real quick, and just do an example on the spot just to convince yourself it's correct. Because this is one of those things where like I've seen so many times and I know it's incorrect. I'm just waiting for you to correct yourself, and if that's not coming in, then I know that like this isn't gonna work, right? Like, and I have to prompt you later on for you to fix it. So depending on the time,
Right.
right? Again, like one of those things, the interviewer can say, okay, start from the top, try this input, and just watch you spend 20 minutes doing this example again. Right? In this case, I just wanted to let you know that yeah, that logic is backwards, and you got to fix it. Which you did do, right? But again, it's better if you just catch it yourself, especially if you actually said yourself that this is like, oh, we got to be careful here, right?
Yeah.
Um,
Oops.
yeah, that's whatever. Okay, and then the time complexity being wrong, that is a bit more egregious because that like this is one of those things where if you're using a programming language, like you should be knowing what's going on, right? So whenever you have a string, you're processing a string, that's questionable, right? It's immediately questionable when you process strings, especially in LeetCode. You should try to be careful about that. And if you do, like it's gonna be okay, but you just gotta get the complexity correct, right? So in this case where you have in characters, you are gonna be in squared, right? Because you're going to be copying this on in times in divided by two times on average. So it's not that you can't do this in LeetCode. It's that you have to call it out and propose a valid alternate solution. And by the way,
Okay. So then if I were to use a character array, then it would be O of n time overall.
so that's the second part I was going to get at, which is that's also wrong because well, it's not that it's wrong, but it's that you didn't say how. So, for example, if this is what you said, okay, make this a list, make this token dot append. Okay, you know what? I'll do it this way. Can I copy this line? No. If you did it like this, token dot append stack dot pop. Right. If you did it like this, no, you would be append 0. I think is how you do it in Python. I don't know. Anyways, append to the front. Like, I mean, you know what I mean, right? So,
Yeah.
was it insert? I think it's insert. Okay.
Okay.
This would still be in square time because to insert anywhere that's not at the end takes end time.
Oh.
So
Oh.
if this was your proposed solution, which judging by your tone it sounds like it was, that would still be incorrect, right? The only way to have it be correct in this case would be to have token dot append stack dot pop. So you set that to the end, and then over here you just do reverse. So token.
Oh.
So this is constant time,
Okay.
and this is O in time, which is fine.
Okay.
Right, so this would be how you have to do it. So if you don't think of that, then again, that's the same. It's the same pitfall.
I see.
Yeah, but there's your little lesson for today. Otherwise, yeah, space is fine. Space is correct. Again, I think that justification could be probably bolstered up a bit, and especially like in general, the time and space complexity being correct is honestly not the hard part. These days, it's very rare to have a candidate get the space and time complexity incorrect, but usually what separates the candidates is how they're able to justify it, right? So, for example, for this problem, what you might say in regards, and let's say we're using this algorithm here, right? What you might say for the time complexity is, we are at most processing every token twice. So we will add every token onto the stack exactly once, and we will be adding, and we will be removing every token from the stack exactly once. So if you can talk about how you're going to finally process elements in a finite manner, then it's a very convincing O of n time, right? And similar for space, you'd say, the space, we will never have more than the original tokens on the stack, because every time we process it, we will decrease the stack size, right? Trivially by removing the number of brackets in the stack. So again, so if you can provide a more concrete justification for it being correct, or at least give the interviewer some idea as to where you might be wrong, like why you might be wrong, that's going to be a better answer for time and space analysis, and that applies to both problems. I'm just using this one as an example. Yeah.
Okay. That makes sense. Yeah.
Okay. Any other questions about either problem?
No, not really.
Okay.
Thanks.
Then thank you for your time. Take care.
Thank you. You too. Bye bye.
Bye bye. Okay. Before we go on to the resume reviews, which we'll do, so I did see a question in chat from Matthew, so I'm gonna answer that real quick. The question was originally better use. I don't care about that. Okay. The question was originally, do you think how good of an indicator of software engineering ability do you think the ability to solve LeetCode problems is? And the answer to that is well known. Everyone agrees it's a poor indicator. But the real question is, okay, everyone knows it's poor, but what else can you do, right? And of course there are more involved ways to measure someone's performance and capabilities, but there's also a very high cost of doing that, right? So it has to be a balance of a test which is good enough and something which is easy to administer, and also is easy to. It's not just easy to administer; it's easy to train people to administer. So that's a really big difference between like asking LeetCode questions, which have maybe 3 viable solutions, versus, for example, asking OOP or system design questions, which are much more involved and, in my opinion, better tests of candidate quality. But the interviewer has to be much better to be able to ask those questions effectively. And by ask the questions effectively, I don't mean just read the script. I mean to actually evaluate the quality of the candidate's response. because there are often many, many different approaches to solve a problem, and many of them will be viable. So you have to on the spot evaluate whether or not this candidate's proposal is feasible, right? And so that's something which is much more difficult to train. That's something which is more difficult to provide an unbiased kind of review of. And so, yeah, those are used for more senior interviews because it's worth investing the time and the manpower to do those interviews. But for interns, it's not really common because most interns don't have those skills anyways. All right. We're gonna get to resume reviews now. Excusez-moi. Let me find the page. Actually, let me pin the thing first. So, where is my? Here it is. I'm gonna pin the link. Resume sign up. Oh, copy the wrong thing. Whoops. Resume sign up. There we go. There we go. Okay. Okay. Let's see. Today's date. 3/22. All right, we got one here. Okay, let's have a look. Oh my goodness. First resume already and it's redacted. My goodness, I'm spoiled. Yeah, people who can follow instructions today, guys. Be aware. All right, so this person's comment is currently on data science co-op trying for any SWE. Have had very few interviews, only through co-op scope postings. Never hear back from companies that aren't exclusive to scope. Summer 2025 internship SWE. Got it. Okay, so a couple things off the bat. Oh, got a cough going on. A couple things off the bat. We gotta pick a color. Let's do yellow today. Let's do like this nice gold color. Okay. So the first thing I had to say is, okay, so if you're having trouble getting responses outside of scope, then that's no problem. Just continue to leverage scope, right? Continue to leverage scope. That's why scope is really useful for those kind of use cases. Where you're having trouble here and back. Sometimes scope is what you need to focus on. So that's not an issue, but in of itself. Okay, so we have BCS. Okay. Frameworks, line train pandas. Okay, so a lot of data science stuff here. We're gonna see SQL Server, Chroma, Mongo, Docker, GitHub, JUnit, MLflow. Okay. Okay. Where is your backend? Your backend is Node.js. Okay. Yeah. Oh, and .NET. Okay. Manage development of natural language processing tool to extract clinical features from unstructured patient data. I think you mean managing, like present tense. Yeah, so I think that tense here is a bit off. Like the English here is a bit off. Same with this. So for example, this is ongoing. Then you see the pioneering implementation, right? Designed. So these are unconjugated verbs here, which is actually quite interesting. So you gotta put the right tense on those guys. Let me see the actual content. That's fine. Yes, this is fine. This is pretty standard stuff. That's good. I mean, I'm not gonna really comment too much on the data science part. That doesn't matter. For SWE, that won't make a difference. I think the way things are described is okay. A lot of highlighting here, a lot of bolding. I think the bolding might be a touch too much. I'm conflicted. I wouldn't say get rid of the bolding, but I think maybe don't do any more bolding. I think this is probably enough. Python transfer. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Okay. Data science. So this is another data science role. Okay. Intensive. Okay. Streamlined. So these are past tense. So these are conjugated. Okay. C#.net. Okay. Collecting. Okay. Critical 10 ML attempts enabling strategic relocation. Okay. I don't really understand what this is about. So it took you. I don't know what it means to have 10 ML attempts. Like you try to make 10 things, and after 10, you discover there was an issue. That seems like that's a lot of tries, but I might be misunderstanding. So I think this point is a bit questionable. Um, Driving time calculations, 88 location pairs, blah blah blah. Okay. Reducing calculation time by 99%. I think I think this is the key point. I think this is the key point. This should be first. Reduced calculation time by 99% through blah 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 blah. I think this is the key point here. That's a good one. Data sets, blah 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 blah. Okay, fine. Data quality report. These two feel like the same. One's generating data sets, one's improving data quality and business outcomes. I feel like you can combine these two perhaps. Reduce segmentation time. Okay, this one sounds good. I like that one. That one sounds good. Client, stakeholder. Okay, these two. Yeah, I'll put them at the end. That's fine. I don't think this is too high leverage. Health-based startup strategy operations. Okay. Established company development plans. Blah blah. Okay. 2 million euro in funding, 1 year seed round, pre-seed. Okay. Development grants. Okay. Shaped product development strategy. So you were the strategy. Okay. Okay. This is good then. Streamline workflow implementing SaaS tools. Streamline workflow by implementing 5 SaaS tools to solve hiring expenses. Okay, I see. Okay, I think this is fine to keep in there. This is fine to keep in there. If you could maybe I don't. This is like very non-technical. This is very social. I think this is okay to put in. But let me look at the projects and see if you have better things. Core Finder. Okay, good links. I'll put dates here too. Okay. 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 This is pretty good. This is pretty good. I like this. What's the back end here? Uh, Milestones, Roblox, industry mentor, Deborah. Okay, feedback time. Okay, I think the last point here you can probably get rid of that one. That one's not relevant, but I think it's overall okay. Okay, this one full stack app display cities. Okay, map Tyler. Add load save markers details through API call subhun MongoDB data. Okay, so this last point is kind of irrelevant. Um, this is definitely a weaker project overall. A bit of a weaker one. It might be okay. Let's take a look at this one. Food guide app. Java based app for foodies to keep track. Okay. This is not Java based. It's just Java. Code quality. Okay, don't need that. Reunit test. Don't need that. Okay, so I'd say these two you could probably cut down a little bit more. That's fine. And then I would say your current experience. I don't know how long this is. Well, let me see. Did you say how long it is? You did not say. Well, at most it's until summer, so that's another 4 to 8 months. But I would say as you get more experience on this job, put in more points here. This is the most relevant one so far. This one's also like data science based, so that's not more relevant. This was non-technical. I'd say yeah, put in more points here and get rid of 2 points here. I think you could reallocate the space a bit like that. Not disastrous though. Honestly, this just comes down to getting relevant experience. So if at your current job you can get development experience, that would be the most leverage for you to chase because, you know, it's a competitive market, and if you don't have like pretty competitive projects, you got to have relevant experience in the field you want to go into. So, yeah, I mean, in terms of projects as well, I don't know which of these is still ongoing. I don't know if any of them are ongoing once you graduation. So you're graduating not yet, but you still have some courses. Like take courses that have projects, or find people who you can work with and make something that's a bit bigger, a bit meatier of a project. Because these are all like they're all fine projects, but they're all not very big. Um, so like this one for example is about the size of a 210 project, and it probably is 210 to be honest. Looking at unit tests, this is probably like a hackathon sized project. This one I can't really tell exactly what's going on here because you have a teammate. I don't know how good the teammate is. Well, this is somewhere between like a course project and like a this is probably like a course project, maybe like 3 or 4. I can't tell. So I think one of these things is full stack web app, always in demand to show off those technologies because you have Node, you have React, you have the basics to make something like that. That could be a pretty good use of time. That's what I would say about that. Oh, give me some water. Hold on. I love water. All right. Okay, let me see. Any other submissions? No submissions. The only one today so far. Let me just mark this as whoops, start, and then I'm gonna go through Discord. Okay. um. All right. So this one, let me see. Is this one? Does it guy looking for a review or what? Does having these effects? What the hell? This guy asking about fonts. What the hell is that? All right, this one. Yeah, this one hasn't been reviewed yet. Let's look at this guy. Wait, is he redacted? Yes. Okay. All right. So this guy didn't write too much, unfortunately. Yeah. Okay. Software. Okay, so we have present. This is okay. So this is still just shown there. DS intern. Machine learning. Okay. Projects. Okay. All right. So you've been here for 4 months now. No, almost 8. Right, almost 8 months now. Build automation GUI for drone mission management, focus on mission editing, and PI-based simulation. Okay. Develop mission control features, enabling local operations, streamlining drone mission. Okay. So, here's the thing. I can't tell what's going on here. Right? I can't tell what's going on here. Okay, so you built a GUI for this thing. Okay? You're not saying how the GUI enables any of these things. So you can edit missions, but what does it mean to edit a mission? Is it just editing some text fields? Is it the drag and drop on a 3D interactive map? Does it integrate on someone's phone and someone gets live updates? Like what's the complexity here? I can't tell. You got to be more clear about these sort of things. Okay, this one as well. So you got mission. So you develop mission control features. Okay, these mission control features enable local operations. What does it mean to enable local operations for a drone for a drone mission control? Like, does that mean to stream the video feed over some streaming service to a person's headset? Does it mean you gotta, or does it just mean that like someone can download an app and it has information on the app about the thing? So I can't tell what this is. This is not described at all. And also, like you were here for like 8 months basically. Okay, you're here for 8 months. You gotta expand on what's going on here, man. Like you gotta have some detail. Okay, DS intern. Develop YOLO V8 platform real-time equipment detection. Real-time equipment detection. Okay, maybe if I knew the company, that would make more sense. I don't understand why I need real-time equipment detection. Build interactive dashboard, Next.js Flask, deliver live performance metrics and actionable insights. Okay, so my only feedback is if this name does not immediately make it obvious why you need to detect equipment in real time, this point has to be reworked. Develop the PC-based application. I never heard of it described as PC-based, but that's fine. Real-time human pose analysis and ergonomic risk assessment using OpenCV media pipe. Okay. PC-based application for real-time human pose. Okay. Sure. Integrated YOLO for object detection, 95%. Okay. Okay. So what I'm getting at is I don't quite understand what's going on here. You were here for 3 months, maybe 8, maybe 4, depending on how you count August. Um, the the pose detection is available off the shelf, right? Like human pose detection is available as an off the shelf attachment to basically like every framework these days. So I think what you got to say in this experience here is to differentiate what you've done to what's off the shelf. So for example, one thing you could do there is you can talk about like what did you find in terms of ergonomic risk? Like did you have findings that you can share? You can talk. So you have a 95% accuracy rate. Now I don't know the accuracy rate of the off-the-shelf solutions. If yours is much better, you should talk about how yours is 35% more accurate than the blah blah other implementation. That would be relevant. But otherwise, to me, this seems like you just spent 3 months importing a library. So I don't quite understand what's going on here for this specific experience. Okay, learning management system, blah blah blah. Okay, this is fine. Okay, let's take a look at this. Okay, uh, okay, real time detection. Okay, that's kind of cool. You can see some fire, I guess. Yeah. Social networking app, Django. Okay, full stack. RESTful API with Django handle 10,000 requests per second. Deploying app user requests. Okay, it's pretty cool. It's pretty cool. That's a lot of users. Python, Arduino, Electron, Bio. What I don't know what that is. Real time focus detection system using EEG signals from Bio app. Oh, okay, cool. Okay, that's pretty. This is pretty cool. I will say though, if you have numbers like this, I'm gonna just doubt those right away. So for projects number hard like quantitative numbers like 20, like it's a bit. I don't know, man. Okay, what is this? Android application join event waiting list QR code supporting. Okay, this is fine. I will split that. This is fine. Next Django, that's fine. That's a lot of tools. I would classify this. This is way too much. So you can so you have so I would say okay. Libraries. You can have libraries. You can have platforms, and you can have coding tools. You just have to split this. So there's way too much shit here. Way too much stuff there. Okay, let me comment. Viewed this on stream. Okay, moving on. This guy. Okay, this guy looks fine. All right, so this guy. This guy didn't say much, I don't think. Any feedback, criticism? Okay. Masters, Purdue, relevant coursework. You have a computer engineering bachelor's and a master's of computer engineering. Okay. So let me see. What's your experience? This is almost 2 years ago now. Okay, that's a while ago. Okay. 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 Okay, sure. Yeah, I think so. This one, I mean, these are pretty well put. And also you were only here for 1 month, so I think this output for 1 month is totally acceptable. This is totally fine. IT solutions intern, improve operation. Blah, blah, blah. Okay, okay, sure. Well, that's good. That's good as well. So I don't know what's going on here. These are 1 month internships, but for 1 month, these are pretty good. So I think there's no concerns there. Cosmify, okay. Multi-platform astronomy applications, okay. Apply, okay. Graphical API, EC2, Kubernetes auto scaling, integrated NASA API, real-time natural disaster tracking. Wait, what? Why does your astronomy application have natural disaster? I don't understand that, but I mean that's kind of cool, I guess. I don't know. Lots of cache, we just high performance caching, 9% cache hit ratio. That's good. API key management, that's good. Never heard of that, but that sounds relevant. Oh, this is probably some Apple platform. I don't know about that, but that's fine. I don't know what rest there is, but okay. Team of 4. Okay. Scrum Technologies, GitHub, NPM. This one's definitely weaker. This is definitely weaker. I like fuzzy testing, but this is definitely weaker. I think it's okay, but if you have more stuff to expand on here, that would be good. Like for example, if you can put in 2 subheaders, one about product features, one about technical achievements, that could be good because this seems to be like a real kind of project with users. So this could be like this could actually be something which you expand upon a bit more. This experience is definitely the most relevant one here. I would split C and C++, everything. I would split JavaScript, TypeScript, MATLAB, R, blah, 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 blah. Yeah, I think this is fine. This is fine. A lot of it, I think, does come down to how well you portray this experience because people look at these being like 1 month each and not put much weight on them. To be clear, I think the work you've done here was good, but again, it's only 1 month. I don't think people will care about that as much as if you had more explanations put here under your projects. So that's where I would put the focus here for this resume. Okay, let's look at the spreadsheet. Any more submissions? I'm gonna get some water, so I'm gonna uh, submit resumes for review in pinned form. Oh, pinned comment? No, pinned form. Yeah, I'll come back in like 5 minutes. If there are no more resumes after 5 minutes in the form, then we're gonna call it here for today. Alright, your boy's back. Let's see. Any new submissions? If not, we're gonna call it right here. Oh, we had one. Nice. Okay. We have the one. Let's have a look. Boom. Oh, that has no resolution. Okay, that's fine. The comment here, mainly trying to get full stack junior jobs, or really anything where I get the chance to code at this point since the market is pretty rough. Ideally, I like to work in some JS, but Python and C++ jobs also work for me. Okay. Okay. New grad. I would split that. That's fine. Okay. React Node. Lowercase there, lowercase there. That's fine. Okay, so you have basically one technology here, which is React and Node for front end, for like web apps. Okay. Oh, this is the one that came last week, wasn't it? Okay, let's take a look. By implementing caching and eliminating redundant computations. Let's go through that. Okay. Data capacity. Okay, that's good. Co-author peer-reviewed paper. Co-authored peer-reviewed research paper. I still don't see it linked here. I don't know. I don't know if you can't link it or something, but that would be good to have. Okay. Modernizing legacy Python 2 scripts. Okay. GitLab repositories. Okay. 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 Projects. Yeah, I mean, okay. About these, it's same thing as before. Again, I'm trying to just figure out. So you were here for 1 year. It's not clear to me exactly what was the biggest time spent here, but I think at least these two are pretty substantial. So I think that's fine. But again, for something which is about a year, I'm looking for probably eight data points, like 8 things you've done. That's what I'd be looking for in over a year. Now these 3 points are pretty beefy, so you can consider if you really can't think of anything else, then just be aware that's gonna be taken as a negative signal. For things that don't work. Okay, let's say like projects. I think I saw these before. Let me just see if anything's really really different here. I would say you can just put NW hacks in the title here and get rid of this point. It's fine. It's fine. Yeah, same. So I don't think too much things have changed. I think this is the same as before. Publications, by the way. So this is cool. I think over here, if you don't wanna put it's gonna keep it here. But just over here, just put in brackets like below, like C below or C publications or something like that, so people know to look down here. Yeah, I think if you could put in more data points about the work experience, that would be much more leveraged than expanding on the products more. The products are fine. But you have a hackathon product here that's like whatever. This one here and this one here look quite good. This one I don't know what's going on here. This is some like web scraping and stuff. But you have some decent projects. This is a work experience people lean on the most because you have a year here. Otherwise, if you're looking for like products to do, putting a nice UI on this could be nice. Like putting a front-end UI on a website people can play against would be nice. Like just something to put in like the full stack experience, so you can showcase more React skills basically, or front-end skills. Because right now your only React is this, right? So, if your only React skills is going to be through a hackathon, that's not going to be a good look. This will link expire. Oh, did it expire again? Okay, let me update it. Invite, copy. Seems like I update it every week, but join the Discord. Boom. Okay, there it is, updated. Okay. Well, that's all the submissions for this week, so I'm thinking of just calling it here. Thank you everyone for attending, and see you next week.